Daily Detroit is brought to you by the community. Support our work at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
Welcome to your Daily Detroit for Thursday, July 11th, 2019. I'm Jer Stays. The Detroit Shipping Company is a recent success on Peterboro, just west of Cass. The shipping company part, if you didn't know, doesn't refer to logistics and freight, but to the 21 shipping containers that make up the two-story building. It's about 10,000 square feet of food and beer hall, having a variety of culinary outposts and a couple of bars in a blended indoor and outdoor space. Reports last year said it cost about $3 million to build. The Detroit Shipping Company has now been open a year, so I figured it's a good time to take the temperature and talk to their events general manager, Julie Sailus, about the story of the place, what they've learned, what they'd really like to see in the neighborhood, and how they're celebrating a year in business. And before we go any farther, cards on table, we kind of have front row seats for this one. As longtime listeners of the podcast probably know that we often record at the Podcast Detroit studios within the complex. That's all coming up right after a word from our episode sponsor, Repurpose. Repurpose is where you can get hired by Detroit's best startups and companies. Repurpose connects top talent like you with purpose-driven companies based on values, experience, and culture fit. Join their talent community at repurpose.co. That's repurpose.co, and we thank them for their support. Julie, welcome to Daily Detroit.
Thank you.
So, there's some big news. I hear that you have made it. Yeah. It has been a year since this place has opened, and that's pretty exciting news.
Yeah. Yep. So we opened last year on Friday the 13th. So lucky day. We figured, just like when it rains at weddings and it's supposed to be good luck, we thought we'd open on Friday the 13th. So yeah, our anniversary is this Saturday. So I can't believe it. Been here the whole time. And I never loved shipping containers more.
So, there's been so many things that have opened up lately. The food court concept is kind of hot, not just in Detroit, but across the country.
Yeah.
Mixing that with shipping containers seemed to be a brilliant idea. I knew that it took a while for this project to get off the ground, but now that it's open, what are some of the things that you guys have learned?
Well, that magnets are your best friend, which is amazing for events and for everything else. Being accessible to all different types of people and as well as dogs, us being dog friendly has been great for not only our staff, which predominantly has pets, but just our customers. They really do care about having the dogs here and they're able to hang out and drink or listen to music or just not leave their dog at home. And a lot of people that live in the city don't have kids. So it's really nice to do that. But we also cater to kids, so we've got games, we've got different stuff. And then all the restaurants, it's just been really interesting to figure out the dynamic of being a restaurant, but not really having a back of the house, which I've never had to interact with. So I kind of use this place as almost like a brewery vibe. When I used to work in the brewery, I used to work at Atwater. It was the same thing. It was like, during the day, people come day drink, hang out, bring their pet. So I feel that there's a lot of similarities that I figured out, but I think we're way cooler and way more dynamic, specifically because we have booze, but also I like the art piece of it. I like having, people like you guys here. I think it's just interesting and very dynamic.
When it comes to the food and the drinks, you guys have been able to draw people in and, outside of like a little fit and start in the beginning, because you're going to have some folks from Canada came in and they couldn't come here for reasons that were out of everybody's control.
Yeah.
Which is a real bummer.
Yeah.
But you've been able to kind of curate folks and get folks in here and have some success. Whereas, and I'll leave names out, but there's been some folks who have found some struggles. What have kind of you found to be like the magic key for the food around here? Because there's some great options with like Bangkok 96 and the Coop and the new Momo Cha, all that stuff.
Yeah. To me, honestly, I think that you need to cater to the vegan vegetarian community quite a bit. It's a very strong community in Detroit, and there's a lot of places that are doing it really, really well. It's not your mom's vegetarian, which was, carrot sticks and celery stalks. It's, like Street Beat does this pop up in the city that's amazing. That's like the fake, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And
that
like
stuff is great. I tried that a couple weeks ago.
It's unbelievable, right? And so, and people that I know that are not vegetarian, vegan, go there. And I enjoy it, and I'm not a vegan vegetarian, but I enjoy eating that. And I think there's nothing wrong with eating vegan or vegetarian. It's not going to hurt you, right? So having those options here, I really tell the restaurants to cater to that type of crowd, and also just like the mobility thing. So we have pedal pubs. We've got a lot of people on bikes and scooters and pedicabs. I mean, they come from every direction. So like mobility and like portability is nice. And a lot of people don't realize that we actually have our to-go license for beer and wine. So pedal pubs can come here and they can get some drinks to go on that avenue too. So it's been really nice, but it's like a work in progress. Everything's like changing and turning into its own animal.
What surprised you over the last year?
What surprised me actually was that people were comparing us to Fort Street Galley. And they were trying to say like we were these identical twins. And I see where they may have thought it for a minute, but I was like, no, we're totally different. And I love that. Like, I love that we're interesting. I like that we're like more like a community center. I love the art pieces. And, I just really enjoy what we've become and how different we are than everybody else. And I think that's why we're still around and we're successful.
It seems like you've done a pretty good job of adapting to the clientele that wants to come down here and do things. Do you see a mix of like residents and tourists, or how are you kind of seeing that full out? Because you mentioned the galley. It seems like they serve a very lunch crowd. We're up here at the Detroit Shipping Company, and I say we because our studio is in this building.
Yay.
It's a little bit different, right? Because you don't have big employment centers right next door. Lunch isn't the main thrust here. It's more of the weekends and the afternoons.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's definitely, we have quite a few events too. People like to rent out the space because we are so large and interesting. And it seems like we get a nice variety of residential and out of town, out of state, people coming in from out state. It's really hard to explain the place to them over the phone, but we try and do our best. But the local people, they love it. So we've got a lot of Wayne State support, a lot of local there. I would say for out of town, I would say a lot of like the industrial type businesses really like us. I think just because we are like very industrial and it's very Detroit, it's like we're a little rough around the edges, but creative. So I think that's like been our majority, but we're definitely getting a lot of interest for next year around auto show time, which is awesome.
What are some of the things that, this is a neighborhood where there are definitely a lot of things happening. You've got the Peterboro next door. You've got a variety of stuff opening. We're just steps from Founders, the Masonic. It all kind of works together, right?
Yep.
But what would you like to see kind of next in the area, in the neighborhood that would kind of help this place go to the next level? Is there anything nearby that would be great to see happen?
A dog park. I would love, being that K9 to 5 is our neighbor. I think that would be a great help to both of us because people, they have their dog sitting during the day. They go to pick up their dog after work. Maybe they want to come over here, and we really don't encourage them to let their dog loose. But it would be nice to have something like that. I would love more like alley walking kind of similarities to like where Brakeman is and the Skip, but a little bit more residential and our back alley and going around. I would love that. More, I don't know, more art. I would love to have more like murals and brighten up this gray area. We did a neighborhood cleanup that we did a great job, but it's like the guys that helped us from Clean Detroit, they were awesome. And the first thing they said is, we're probably going to have to do this a lot. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's okay. So I think that, and just a little bit more density, because we do have such a large amount of empty buildings here. So the concentration of people is usually surrounded by what's going on in Masonic, LCA, or if we drive something here. So we either have to bring them here or something needs to be happening.
I know that you can walk very easily to a few different bars from here. Like, think about the Temple, another place. You can actually make a night of it hopping around, but you kind of need to know where you're going, because there's some of those buildings which are boarded. Some of those buildings still need work, and then you've got a whole sea of lots that haven't been developed yet. We'll leave it there.
Yeah. I know. I wish we, obviously like parking garages or more parking would be great. I mean, we have street parking, but
so you really feel like a garage would take it to the next level.
Yeah, I think because, we only have so much, and there's a lot of foot traffic in this neighborhood. So I think just makes people feel safe. You tell people that we're in Cass Corridor, and people are like, are you serious? Like, because they're going all the way back to when it was not so nice.
Well, I always think of it. I mean, I've always kind of called it Cass Corridor. My dad lived around here. And also, I say to people, if Cass Corridor is good enough for Jack White, it's good enough for everybody else, right?
Yeah. I mean, we like calling it like, we like to really try and flip the script because it does have such a negative vibe to it. But, calling it like Cass Park or trying to turn some life back into it is like we've been trying to do that. But, Cass Park is technically the park in front of Masonic.
Right.
But, just something just to kind of change the idea that everybody has of this space.
So you feel like that idea is like really burned in for people's minds, like the Cass Corridor and that stuff.
Yeah. If you go on Wikipedia, I actually looked it up because I was looking up like different ideas. And if you look up, it's like Cass Corridor is like, it has a negative even description in Wikipedia. It's just like there's nothing positive about it. And so it's like, do you change the name? Then people are going to get upset about that. Do you change, what can you do? So we're just trying to change the footprint and we're hoping that that spreads. And I think it is. I think that we're here, just because we're here is better than nothing, right?
I would love to see places like the old gold dollar come back or something like that was around the way, right? And then you could really embrace the Cass Corridor name, keep some of the older stuff that was there. I think about those bars that unfortunately, went by the wayside a while ago. Some folks listening to this might not remember. I was kind of the beginning of my drinking career when that place left. But one thing I've noticed is that when you speak about alleys, you guys are kind of expanding a little bit. One thing I noticed in the back there's actually now a volleyball court and there's some other stuff. So what's going on? Because, I mean, you're talking about the alley and it doesn't seem like you're waiting on folks to make that happen.
No. I mean, honestly, let's ask for forgiveness later. But it's better than what it was. And I'm really big into like nonprofit and like helping out with the community in the city anyways. So cleaning up my backyard doesn't bother me one bit, and adding a monster size beach volleyball court that's going to live here until next year for like leagues and open play is awesome. I mean, people were playing. We started leagues on Monday. They're Monday through Thursday. People are here playing, so you can come and like watch them. People can hang out in the back and have drinks or bring their dog or whatever. And it's a great environment, and it's encouraging people to be active and, not be the slugs of the Midwest that we've been known to be in a lot of different articles. I don't know if we're the most, largest state still, but I just, it's like I feel like everybody's changing. Like there's a lot of like vegetarians, there's a lot of bike riders, there's a lot of active, there's a lot of sports, and I love that. And it makes me feel like I'm in a warmer climate. And even if we only have warm climate for a couple of months, it's just nice to have that different view and hang out.
So celebrations coming up. What all is happening? Let's talk about it.
So much drinking of water, and also
stay hydrated, friends. Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated, please. It's going to be hot. So we're going to have some live music. We're going to have some ticket giveaways for Mopop, which is coming up in a couple weeks last one at the riverfront. So get them while they're hot. So we're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have some boozy popsicles and some boozy ice cream, and we're going to have some special treats from some of the restaurant vendors. They're going to be out there. So no tickets, no charge to get in. And I think we've been doing really well with that as well. We've really been trying to embrace everybody to be able to come and enjoy the space. And it shouldn't be a place where you have to pay a cover all the time. And so we try and avoid that as much as possible. We probably are closed more to the public because of private events versus a ticketed event.
Well, and there have been some private events in here like weddings and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we had our first wedding here a few weeks ago, and then we have a couple more this year. And, we do weddings, but we limit it to the style of wedding that they're trying to have. We're not trying to morph the space into something else. We're just trying to enhance it with somebody's, wedding or a special day. But like corporate events, we've had like fundraisers, big brothers, big sisters, a lot of art events.
Sit Down to Detroit folks here. I saw that on another station.
Yep. Sit Down at Detroit. Great people I've worked with. So they did a couple workshops. So anything that I can, partner with, nonprofit wise, if they need, help and space, I'm definitely happy to look at it and work with them as much as possible. We're only going to get better in numbers, right? In power numbers.
Julie, thank you so much for stopping by.
You're so welcome. Come check out our art galleries anytime. There's always different art galleries. They change every 6 weeks. Slaw is going to be our current artist in the main gallery. He's amazing. He did our mural on the stage. So if you guys come in, you see that awesome Where the Wild Things Are mural that's from Slaw, and all of his other work is going to be up in the main gallery for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that mural is great. It merges two things I love, a old station wagon and Where the Wild Things Are. I didn't think it could be that absurd of a pairing could work, but it totally does.
I know, and it is it's a dedication piece to one of the owner's sisters. So a lot of times people are like, oh, I love Where the Wild Things Are. And then you tell them the story and then they're even more connected, just like the comic murals upstairs. So, definitely we're really proud of the art. Like I book it. And so if people are interested, they can always come by and ask questions. But yeah, support local all day.
Absolutely. Well, we'll link to everything in the show notes, including a calendar of what's coming up, and make sure you can follow these folks on social media. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
Here are a couple quick things to know about around town before I let you go. A mural that measures 100 feet tall that honors Stevie Wonder finished on Wednesday. London-based artist Richard Wilson did the piece, interpreting a legendary photograph by Douglas Kirkland of the Smiling Wonder sitting at a keyboard. You can find it on the backside of the Detroit Music Hall downtown. Second, 17 basketball courts will be renovated around the city of Detroit this summer. The redone courts are part of the community benefits agreement when the Detroit Pistons returned to the city in 2017. In total, $2.5 million will be spent to refurbish 60 courts over 6 years across the city. And we're done for today. Go out and enjoy the summer. I mean, I can tell you, it is beautiful out there today. Also, thanks to our supporters on Patreon for making this show possible. Without them, this couldn't happen. You can join them at patreon.com/dailydetroit. Thanks for listening. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.